Ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, welcome to another episode of the Advanced Wars 2 Hard Campaign playthrough. Now it's time for the second set of Green Earth missions. The mission I have currently selected is the hardest of the bunch, and boy is it hard. It's like Sea Fortress on steroids, so let's avoid that for now. Let's play the easy mission, the safe mission, the Drake Navy versus Air mission. Yes, this is going to be fun. Hawk's got himself a new airport. Luckily, it does not have a self-destruct system, as Lash seems to want to add to it. You know, that actually would be very interesting. We need some more non-standard buildings in Advanced Wars, but they just stick to the basics in all of the games. No self-destruct systems, no weird stuff. Yes, very boring, Lash. I have a feeling if Lash designed her own Advanced Wars game, it would be a very wild beast. So, Navy versus Air. As the mission name implies, this is meant to be a naval battle versus air units. And it's very different on hard mode. This is not how it looks normally on normal mode. Now, on normal mode, you can kind of throw away the entire premise of the mission and just use air units because there's a very easy airport to capture. We're kind of going to do the same thing, but we're focusing more on the ground forces. Because as you'll see, there's a very easy base to capture. As soon as the mission starts, I will show you what Hawk is working with. He's got a small battalion of air units, and once those are out of the picture, you do have a lot of cruisers. Well, you've got 3 cruisers, but that's enough to deal with them. And you've got a missile and some anti-air units. Really, you've got everything you need to deal with this initial volley of air units. You can see that there's 6 copters and 2 bombers. But other than that, there's really not a lot for Hawk to work with. He's going to be stuck building infantry for the first 2 turns due to the rule that I have mentioned many times previously, that the AI must build infantry if it does not have enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick to the starting area here for a little bit. And this is probably going to be a little bit boring, to be honest, because we're just going to wait for these air units to come to us. And then once they do get here, and we've blown them all up, yeah, 2 T-copters. Hawk, what are you doing? Like, I don't know, send another B-copter or something. Let's go for this base. We want a sizable force of infantry, and, you know, this mission actually kind of puts on full display the problems I have with Navy and Advanced Wars prior to Days of Ruin. Like, Days of Ruin, as you probably know, it made it so that Navy units could go through bridges, which would be a huge help in this map, because then, like, anything you build from these ports is basically stuck on one side of this bridge going through the center of the map, and that ain't cool. Alright, so let's avoid taking any unnecessary damage here. Move off 1 space to the left, and then we need to set up the missile so that it can fire. Where should we put it? I don't want the enemy to be able to get into its blind spot, so probably putting it on that city is a good idea. Alright, so with the movement boost to Navy units that Drake has, you can get the infantry over to this part of the little peninsula there. That will let you capture those properties. And what was I going to do? I was going to build something. I think I was going for an anti-air, or was I going to save up for... I'm going to save up for another cruiser. I think you need 1 extra cruiser because your cruisers do not have the defense to deal with these guys. Kind of unfortunate. And we are inevitably going to invoke the Wrath of Black Storm, so that'll be something to watch out for too. Like, in a situation like this, there's basically no way to attack these bombers without taking a bunch of damage. At the very least, these top units are safe. We can destroy the 2 B-copters by using the missile. Sadly, the bombers decided to stay out of missile range. Oh, but actually, I have a capturing infantry right here, so, yeah, we could totally, like, sacrifice it to those 2 bombers. I know that's a little bit morbid, but let's just move our anti-airs over here. They have to attack the capturing infantry, I suppose. So yes, using the AI against itself. How fabulous. And we can also work on getting control of the silos up here. The silos up there are important, but what you actually want to do is get your infantry all the way down to this base and possibly this airport. The enemy usually captures that airport by the time you're down there, so you don't really want to spend too much time on it. So he's going to go for the capturing infantry. Watch. Oh, he's built a fighter. That's interesting. And now we can shoot those with the anti-airs, and I guess our cruisers will be able to handle the B-copters. And look at these B-copters. They have just gone into the exact positions I needed them to be in order for them to get destroyed completely. Like, if they had moved there in any other fashion, it would not have worked out as well as it did. So that was actually really, really big brain. Like, sacrificing those units like that. Alright, let's get these infantry down there. Now that the air units are out of the way, we can get down to that base pronto. We can also work on getting infantry down to this airport as well. And potentially this one. You kind of want to capture that one because it's really dangerous. The enemy could start spawning stuff. And we didn't even have to build an additional cruiser. It's actually very interesting. Here comes Black Storm. Fortunately, the infantry on board the landers are completely safe. This could make things a little bit hairy, because we're going to be dealing with 2 5 HP bombers. So who knows what they could do. Alright, so that was not the worst thing they could have done. And as you can see, Hawk now has a fighter, but for some reason air units that he builds out of this airport, they really just sit around here and don't really do anything. So, you know, as long as you don't aggro them, it's they're not really a problem. Right. That was not the best move I could have made. I should have fired at that one with the missile, but it's okay. Let's go here. And I don't know what the bomber is going to do now. But we don't need to worry about that. We've got that base pretty much secured. You want to keep the cruisers, obviously, because you still want those anti-air forces. Like, this map, I actually kind of like it. Like, I'm not sure how much of what I'm doing in this map is intentional. I've built missiles in playthroughs of this map, and right now I'm just wondering if I should, like, build a battleship or something, because I have a lot of money. I guess a backup cruiser is not such a bad idea, because you still want to keep those anti-air forces well prepared. I haven't even had to use my superpower quite yet. But as you can see, Hawk made no attempt to capture this base, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. Should I stall him from his capturing? No. No need. And then we can send the lander back and hopefully get an infantry up to those silos. So yeah, I kind of like this map. It plays out very well, but I'm not sure like how much of that is due to genuinely good design, or if it's just a coincidence that this happens to be actually pretty good. And you still kind of like pass over a bunch of the map because the best plan is to go to that base that's very near Hawk's HQ. So yeah. Like, not really certain if I can call this a seriously good map, but it does play out very well. It's gotten me to build units I wouldn't normally think about. Still, you know, all of the problems with the Navy basically apply. There's still no real reason to build subs because, like, Hawk doesn't even have a port. And there's no reason to build battleships because they're still way underpowered. That might have been a mistake. I should have, well, I think this will be okay. As long as that B-copter's probably in range, yeah. Like, I can get rid of it now, but it's going to take a little while to capture that base. Let's see, as long as I keep the cruiser here, I'll be alright. And you could even use the lander to transport your missiles if you wanted to. Alright. In fact, I'll just transport the anti-air units all the way down there. They need to get there quicker than on land. Right. Now we can capture this airport. I don't think I'm going to build many air units as Drake. Like, yeah, I know it probably seems very weird to build air units as Drake, but you do tend to do that because they're still really good. They're still much better than the Navy, even if you're playing as Drake. Alright, so I'm going to... I have to join this infantry unit. I think I'm going to try to reduce the damage that the infantry takes as much as possible, so now it's time for a Typhoon. I still remember what it's called. It's a Typhoon. 2 damage to all enemy units, and they lose half their fuel. Which is actually... Oh, and it rains, too. That's another thing. That will increase the fuel cost of movement, and this could actually be very dangerous, because if those air units just sit there for too long, then they could crash. Alright, so we definitely want to get our anti-air forces down there as quickly as possible. I am kind of banking on the infantry staying alive at 6 HP or more, which I think should be feasible because this Typhoon is giving even the infantry some extra defense. Right, in you guys go. We're also going to want to transport an infantry up to those silos. I guess building another lander isn't such a bad thing. We still... Like, I want to let the money build up because eventually I want to spam rockets and medium tanks to mop up the rest of the units. Right. 6 HP, that's perfect. That's the exact amount I needed. And he, you know, well, he would have been attacked by a cruiser no matter what space he attacked from, so it's fine. What is this T-copter doing landing in infantry on that airport? I know it wants to capture the neutral city there, but why... Just drop it on the city, dude. Don't block off your airport. You kind of need that. Right. Missile here. And these two can be on their way. I'll drop off the infantry and then start moving to drop the anti-air. Alright, so we're kind of letting the money build up a little bit. They're really crowding around the airport. I'm not sure. Normally when the AI builds units, those units get the AI set that forces them to move and attack as aggressively as possible. But it seems like they're trying to defend those properties, and I don't really know why. Alright, so now we're ready to spam medium tanks. Let's get out of that artillery's range. And why not? Drake Bomber, just because I have the money for it. And this lander is going to be going for the HQ. Let's see, what can we do here? Get out of the artillery range. Missiles are actually pretty important here because it's the best way to actually snipe out air units from the ground. Like, your cruisers just aren't strong enough, in my opinion, because they take a lot of counterattack damage if they have to deal with a bomber. This is going to get sticky, though. Because I have to... If I attack with a medium tank now, then I have to... Actually, time to launch the first silo. Just to get the tank weak enough to where I can blow past it and then go for the artillery with the anti-air. Yes, that's perfect. And I might as well just shoot down the T-copter because I'm feeling particularly cruel tonight. And, I don't think Drake B-copters are worth the money. But, I suppose a T-copter wouldn't hurt. Another form of transportation. And I will keep that lander there just in case the infantry needs to make a quick getaway. Alright, so full steam ahead. Let's run over these guys in as little time as possible, too. He's about to get his CO power. Alright, this is getting a little bit sticky because that rocket is actually covering the B-copter. Now I can't hit it with, oh, I can hit the T-copter with a missile. Okay, I'll do that. We got to get that rocket out of the way, and the best way to do that is to build a rocket of our own, because now the rocket can either sit where it is and possibly fire at my cruiser, possibly fire at the medium tank or the rocket. And if it stays, it's going to get hit by my rocket. If it does not stay, it is going to waste its turn. Here we go. Oh, and you know what? I should not have unloaded the infantry before ending my turn, because now they've taken damage, so this is going to hurt them a little bit. They can't capture as quickly, but I'm suddenly losing units. Not good. The fighter and the bomber decided to finally start aiming for my units. So that was a little costly, but first things first. Time to show you how we do things at sea. I think his other quote is funnier. Wave goodbye to your troops because I'm about to drop a giant Typhoon. And this will mess with their fuel considerably as well. Right. And the question is, can we get to that HQ? We could start capturing it on the next turn, but this kind of relies on what Hawk does with his units. Because if they block the HQ, then it's going to take a little bit longer to capture it. Right, there's nothing we can really do for those two, except for maybe get them away from here and then join the landers. They're probably gonna aim to destroy that infantry, so there's not really anything I can do here to save it. What are we at? Well, we've lost 6. Out of 24, that's not too bad. Alright, I'm praying that he does something really dumb and builds, like, absolutely nothing at those airports or the base. I wish we could get that artillery out of the way. Maybe there's a way to do that. Nope, it looks like well, our bomber is certainly too far away for it. Let's get rid of the enemy bomber. And, yeah, I think I have to get back on the T-copter, where it's safest. We have to wait for this bomber to come down here. Still, though, you wouldn't think a Drake bomber would be something people would actually build, but there you go. We could certainly... They decided to ignore the 2 HP infantry, which is really weird, because I thought they would have realized that it would allow me to launch this silo. I mean, that's probably, like, the worst silo ever, because it barely even did anything, but whatever. Oh, I should not have built a bomber. There were a bunch of other units that I could have built. But the map is pretty much over at this point anyways. I think he just crashed due to losing all his fuel, which is very rare. You don't usually see that. He is very much in the mech building phase, which is good for us. So it should not be long before we have that HQ completely under our control. The question is, how quickly can we do it? And will we have to use another COP or something? I'll join those two. And remember, the AI has to go for the capturing infantry, so that lander's going to be completely safe, just running away from the battle. So this map does take a little while, because the last few turns here, I think I could have handled them a little better. I would love to have an average S rank. Oh, he's going to stall for one more turn. I should have seen that coming. So it will take me one more turn because I don't have any way of repairing the infantry on the HQ. He's really making me fight to the last. Oh, and a silo too. But he did not hit the capturing infantry. You would think it would be kind of important to hit that one. Very easy to forget that there's a silo up there. Anyways, now it should be... Like, now we should be able to win it all, because now there's really nothing he can do. Like, that was his last chance. Yeah. Other than joining a few units to make sure I don't lose too much technique. Yeah, there's really nothing else I can think to do. He can do whatever he wants. So yeah, it turns out that if your opponent is not as smart as you, then Navy really can beat air units, except I only really use two kinds of Navy units for two very specific things. Hawk is the last person I would expect to say that. The only battle you have to win is the final one? Like, what kind of reasoning is that? And I suppose Drake did get lucky. Is that grammatically correct? I don't know for sure. Yes, Eagle. People do find humility appealing. Nope, that's an A rank. I'm starting to get worried about my average for the entire campaign, but I should be fine, I think. Alright, so that's Navy versus Air. It took a while, that's for sure. But we still got one more mission to go through before the final three, and it is going to be a Gimmick Mission, and it's the first time I'm playing as Jess in this playthrough. It is a map with a volcano. That's going to be interesting. Best troops, the Air Force. You know, I just played a match online with Jess, and she's really, really good. Like, you wouldn't expect ground forces with the ability to refuel whenever you please with your CO power to be really good, but it really is. Well, actually, it's not the refueling part that people like. Because I've mentioned in other playthroughs that there's a big question of who's the better CO in Advance Wars 2, Max or Jess. Because with Max, he's obviously got really good direct combat units, but with Jess, she's got better vehicles, and that includes indirects. But of course, on a ground map, you're always going to use Jess because there's no air units anyways. So yeah, there's your nice-looking volcano. They recycled the graphic in Advance Wars DS, and the level gimmick as well. Eagle's good anywhere, like Lightning Strike is just that amazing. But with less expensive units in play, we're not going to charge that power meter quickly enough, so I guess Jess really is the best CO for this job. He's so worried about her, it's not even funny. Alright, so this map could potentially be annoying. I thought it was going to be really, really awful, but, you know, it's actually not that bad. So what you have to do is, first thing you want to do is you want to capture these bases up here in the north, because it's very easy to get to them, as opposed to the ones on the right. It'll take a lot longer to travel that distance, so you can let the enemy take care of that for you. I'm going to go ahead and build an artillery, because I want those as soon as possible. We can travel up here and start capturing this base on the second turn. So this won't take forever, but it might take a while. Like, this could be the first hour-long video in the playthrough. For those of you who like the lengthy videos, I suppose that's going to be a good thing. So there's a gimmick to this mission. The volcano itself actually does erupt. It's active. and the lava actually all falls in a set pattern. I do not have the pattern memorized because, to be honest, the pattern is so erratic that it rarely strikes my units anyways. But if a unit does get struck with a little lava ball here, it takes 5 damage. In fact, the enemy just demonstrated it for me. Nice job, Hawk, you're really smart. Though I suppose even he couldn't predict the lava. So Hawk's got some medium tanks coming for us, so we should be certain to meet them head on with our artillery. That's why I built the artillery. You want to have that ready for them. And these mechs are going to be just a... They're just going to be a teensy bit of a nuisance. I'm going to build a recon at the HQ just to fend off the mechs. That's all it's really there for. And there's recons coming our way too. So you do want to defend the HQ a little bit, maybe cut off the mechs before they secure more funds for Hawk. And you can see that I've just barely avoided the lava just by playing naturally. Like, these were the most natural moves I could think of, and they weren't really in any of the areas struck by lava. Also, that was lucky. It was very lucky to kill off that unit in one hit. I didn't really want it to be a one-shot, but I guess it's fine that it was. Alright, so keep moving, keep moving. And time to try and shake off these mechs. Start working on getting some artillery up there, but we have a base there now, so it's not going to be much trouble to take the fight to Hawk. Shame that tank took some damage, but I suppose that was... I seem to recall being able to avoid that initial hit, but whatever. Could be that I'm just not playing this the way I did in my test play. Alright, time to start making some artillery. I don't know why Jess started with an anti-air. There's no air units in this map, so not really much point to it. Oh, that's unlucky, but I can always finish it off on the next turn. Alright, so the medium tanks are the tough part of this mission. After that, you're basically safe. Wow, he one-shot a Jess tank with just the medium tank. I suppose he's got the attack power for it. Yep, I'm still not getting hit by the lava. That's a good sign. Yeah, I'm not really worried about those units. Like, I just did that to stall him from capturing up there. It's no big deal. Well, it looks like we've got to choke that point with a damaged tank. So we're already starting off with some units lost. Not the best starting point. Actually, let's use the anti-air. Maybe the medium tank will attack first and not kill it. Because I need it to survive this turn. Yep, that looks about right. It's a good thing that the volcano erupts on your turn and not Hawk's, because then he would be able to repair damage back with his super. Then again, the volcano does 5 damage and his super recovers 2, so not that big a deal. Alright, where will this medium tank go? Should I keep making artillery? We're going to need tanks as we start moving towards the HQ, so probably stick to tanks for a little while. Here comes a black wave. Works for me, it means it'll be longer before we see Black Storm. And most of our units will recover the damage. Well, the important units, the infantry, will recover the damage anyhow. And, you know, thinking about it now, Jess actually has a very small power meter. Oh, I've been hit by the lava. One of my artilleries got hit. Not the important one, fortunately. Oh, geez. Living on 1 health. Thank you. I'm thinking the mech will go for the capture. Let's hope that's the case. You know, I have a feeling that the final Green Earth mission is going to be, like, it's going to take up an entire video by itself because it's a very, very big map and I'm not looking forward to replaying it, but whatever. I set out to complete Advance Wars 2 hard campaign, that's what I'm gonna do. And not that hard mode makes a difference, really. Still not my favorite map. And now we've got a Jess super ready. Jess's superpower is the most amazing thing. Both of her powers recover the fuel and ammo of all units, which actually becomes useful in, of all things, in air battle. Assuming you're up against, like, Drake or something. Like, in Advanced Wars DS, stealth fighters and submarines burn a lot of fuel, so she's useful even in that situation. But the real point of attraction is that it increases the movement of all ground vehicles by 2. And especially in Advanced Wars DS, where Max loses his movement boosts for some reason. That's one reason Jess is probably better than him even in DS. Like, Jess got a nerf to her regular attack stats, but her powers remain better than the newly nerfed Max. So, there's that. Very interesting points. Alright, I would love to block off that recon. So if I go like this, it won't be able to get past anything. He's gonna try and get past that tank, though. Let's see, none of his units are in range of the artilleries, but I think now is as good a time as any. Well, some of his units are in range. Oh boy, does she. Here it goes. Overdrive. Simple name, simple power, amazing utility. Because look at what this does to her damage, too. Did I mention that this gives her, like, a bucket load of damage? Look at that. That's so awesome. And a lot of movement, too. Like, I'm one-shotting artillery here. It's amazing. I want to one-shot that artillery as well. But I gotta damage the anti-air as well. It looks like the only unit that's gonna stay alive here is the mech. Oh, look at this APC movement. It's so good. And this movement for the artillery is also very good. If you were having trouble positioning your indirect units, this power is amazing for that too. Oh, look at that damage! Anti-air versus recon, and that's quite a lot. Like, I could make a medium tank if I wanted to. In fact, why don't we do that? Because Jess medium tanks are crazy. Like, if you've ever had to face down a Jess Neotank, you know how dangerous those are. But we're still not going to bother unlocking Neotanks, even in Green Earth. Because the final map is just not made any easier by Neotanks, to be honest. Oops, the APC got hit. But it's a good thing I did not unload the unit inside the APC, otherwise it might have gotten hit. Yes, this APC is so powerful that it defends it defends the unit inside from boiling balls of lava. Like, what kind of technology are they using in War's world? Isn't that nuts? Right, so these rockets could be a bit of a pain, so we'll stop here. Maybe let that infantry capture some more properties to get some more fuel. Or income, rather. And with that recon out of the way, these two can start repairing. Meanwhile, what's going on at our own HQ? Oh, I dropped the infantry right before you used to CO power. I should really be paying more attention to the power meters, but you have to go into the CO dossier to view that. It's not like in Advanced Wars DS where it's conveniently on the other screen. That's one good thing about Advanced Wars DS. Lots of quality of life in that game. Oh yeah, that city, I think this city is, it's like in range of the lava. Like on one of the turns, it'll be hit by lava. So that's one that you don't want to bother capturing, really. Okay, time to start working on this HQ. Like, I almost wish that I had another super ready just for this. And we're getting into the part of the map where you have to, where it's just a lot of clicking, getting your units in the back up to the front. And this anti-air can start moving. It's got enough HP. So, yeah, as you were probably noticing, Hawk has a tendency to send all of his units south in order to capture the properties there, thereby leaving the HQ very much underguarded. And that city I just mentioned got hit, so good luck capturing that, Hawk. Okay, so maybe take another turn in order to let the units in the back catch up. I suppose the longer we wait, the longer Hawk has to build up the defenses here. I'm going to keep the APC here. You know what? The medium tank is almost arrived, so let's get in there and start doing some damage. In fact, we could attack the artillery this way, severely weakening it. And we'll see what Hawk does with this on his turn. Everybody else moves forward just in case. Now, that was a bit roundabout. I could have just gone through here with the artillery. But it hardly matters. I don't think that artillery is catching up to my main force. Because attacking the rocket and artillery like that puts a big dent in Hawk's funding. I do not know if I will get a good technique score. I should really be paying attention to my S ranks, because I'm not sure if I have enough to get to average an S rank for this playthrough, which I would really like to do, because that unlocks a bunch of stuff. And I don't know if people are going to seriously use this as a walkthrough, but, like, you know, in case they are, best to give them the best possible showing. Alright, we can block off these bases from being used. And now it's just a matter of securing the HQ, because now he can't even build many new units, especially not near his HQ. He would have to capture these bases, which he hasn't even bothered to capture. It's very, very strange. You know what? I think I'm good to go. And I want to beat this in before the clock reaches 45 minutes on this video. At least he's trying to defend his HQ. That mech is just going to get hit over and over, but he did manage to capture it. So I guess that's worth a mention. Oh dear, what, let's see, we can destroy that. And I guess we could destroy this tank if we can do enough damage. No. I mean, I think we're pretty much secured in our victory right now. Like, there's nothing he can really do. I just gotta make sure that he doesn't get a power, which I don't think he will, unless he builds like a very expensive unit, and I did build a rocket. I think I have to destroy that, which means he might be getting a CO power, because he's about to lose a 15,000 gold unit, and he only needed 1 star, which is worth 9,000. So it's going to take a couple more turns, ladies and gentlemen. How are you guys doing today? That's the end for you, Hawk, no matter how much stalling you try to do. You just gotta wait a couple more turns. It would be sick if the volcano actually struck the enemy HQ, because then capturing it would be even worse. Let's see, we're kind of in a similar situation with units built and lost, so let's get some more. I just gotta stay above 80 tech, right? Because I'm pretty sure power and speed are secured at this point. This volcano animation was also something that I thought would be like the laser animations. The map I skipped has lasers in it, which is why I didn't want to play it. I thought the volcano animations would be similarly long and dull, but they're not that long and dull. In fact, they're not even that long. Yes, you fought well under terrible conditions. You managed to avoid getting hit by fireballs more than like 2 times. Like, I think I only got hit 2 times. The fireballs really weren't much of a factor in this map at all, to be perfectly honest. Like, we weren't even hit that many times. Eagle is such a tsundere. And I can't believe I just used that word. Really, Eagle should be less, you know... I guess I'll never understand why he's so arrogant, but hey, 299, just shy of a perfect. That's kind of painful, but no matter. That's Reign of Fire beaten. We are going on to the final map of Green Earth in the next video. Brace yourselves, because it's gonna be a thing, that's for certain. It's gonna be a thing. See you later for that, everybody.